Hello, Extreme Skier. Hey, Ben, Daniel, Sean. How's it going? Welcome in. This is Emily's round 3, her second round of today at the Alto tournament. Looks like they're getting instructions right before the round is about to start. Emily's got the black pieces here. And there we have it, the handshake. Hello and welcome, everyone. And the first move of the game is d4 from white. Let's see how Emily likes to play. Knight to f6. That's a good move. That's what I like to play. All right. And we have knight to c3. Potentially aiming at playing e4. I think d5 would be a good move here for black. Just contesting the center. Thank you, Clowny Man. Good to see you again. d5 played. Making sure that white doesn't get an easy pawn duo in the center. Looks like we have a London system. Something that Emily should be pretty comfortable with. So let's see how she responds. Maybe the bishop will come out. Maybe she'll play e6 and close the bishop, getting ready for the other bishop to come out. And definitely Emily wants to end today's tournament with a good note. She will be playing again tomorrow. 2 more rounds after this one to go. Live coverage by the one and only Houseline. Shout out to Matt. Okay, and we have c6, preventing any knight b5 shenanigans. Always annoying to have to deal with these coordinated attacks from the knight and bishop. It looks like we have e3, pretty quick move here for white. Feeling comfortable with the bishop outside of the pawn chain. And now getting ready to bring out the light square bishop, probably to d3. Yeah, Emily, she started the tournament yesterday with a draw, getting a half point in a dramatic finish. A wild game. A rough start, to be sure, but Emily fought back to hold it to a draw. Commentated by none other than Blood Queen, who's in the chat, asking how the last round went. It was good to see you, Blood Queen, but if you missed the end, unfortunately, it didn't go so well. Emily was not able to recover from the rough start that she had. She definitely mentioned playing a little bit of hope chess. I'm trying to see what black's last move was. Must have been some piece development. I'm trying to see. Did she bring her other knight in? No. Did she move a bishop? Did she play e6? It looks like she played e6. Yeah. e6 is played. It's okay, all for learning. Yeah, she definitely learned a lot. I think she struck in the center too soon before she had finished her development. And I think she was hoping for a quick checkmate, and she underestimated her opponent. What's up, you son? I'll say hi when you're out of the ad. Thank you for the shout out to Blood Queen. Thank you, Amir. I'm trying to follow along here. The games are also on a little bit of a delay, but so far so good, it seems. Yep, got bishop d3 in there. Emily's last game, she lost. She wasn't able to recover from her opening. Is this a college match? No, this is a tournament in Charlotte. It's UT important, ya son? I don't know if I have a joke command here. I don't know if I need one or deserve one. But yeah, white has very solid development so far. Bishop has come out to b4, pinning the knight. A very solid move. Why am I sighing? Am I sighing? Welcome to your son. Hope the ad wasn't too bad. Hello, Speed Chess as well. Good to see you both. Both streamers, by the way. Your son and I are going to collab at some point. She's decided. So I'm looking forward to that, whenever that may be. Maybe it's right now. Maybe her in my chat is a collaboration of sorts. Who am I talking to, Autocring? I'm talking to you right now, but I'm also live on my channel. Unfortunately, we couldn't set up a shared chat, so if you want to see both chats, you have to tune in to both channels. But probably Emily's channel is more important because that's who we've all gathered here today to see. But I do appreciate if anyone wants to hang out in my channel. I am trying to read both channels. So usually I'm not the best at reading chat, but usually I'm not the best at reading in general. So I'm making do with what I can. That was Ben Feingold walking around in the background. Good to see him back. A couple streamers at this tournament. There's Chess Sharks, Tony. So your son asked if this was a college tournament. Definitely some mixed age ranges, as you can see players in the back, but something you'll notice is there's no children at this tournament. This is the Alto tournament, which stands for at least 21. So your son would not be allowed to play at this tournament, unfortunately, as she is not at least 21. Did we miss some moves? That's a good question. So it looks like the queen stepped up. So maybe we didn't miss moves plural, but perhaps just one move. Round one, she drew. That was commentated by Blood Queen, if you want to go back and check that out. That was a game where she had a rough opening, but was able to recover and played some nice tactics and actually had an advantage, but was unable to convert in the king and pawn endgame. Round two, we watched earlier this morning, and that was an unfortunate attack that didn't work for Emily. She lined up her queen and rook on the d file, trying to deliver checkmate, and castled queenside, but unfortunately had to damage her pawn structure to keep the queens on the board, and that proved to be fatal in the end because she hadn't developed enough, and her opponent defended well and eventually was able to break through the weak structure near Emily's king, and Emily blundered a rook in the endgame and resigned shortly after. So right now she's at a half point out of 2 games. She's still looking for her first win, and we're hoping she'll be able to do it here with the black pieces. Welcome back to Megan. I hope you're doing well. Can a 2 and a 1-year-old play if they pay for the same ticket? That is a great question. I don't know if there's an age requirement to have a USCF rating, but there is an age requirement to join this tournament. So they would not meet that requirement, unfortunately. Okay, looks like, what did Emily play? She brought her knight here, and now knight from G to E2 has been played. So Emily's going after this bishop. This is a very common maneuver to make. Knight here defends the bishop, also connects the knights. Is this a Slav? Maybe you could call it that. Leveling in World of Warcraft. Nice. Good luck. Emily is doing very well so far. This is the start of the game. You guys haven't really missed much. Also, I'm learning this time control. Looks like both sides have gained a bit of time. It's like an hour 45 on their clocks right now. An hour 47 for white. So, and they're 7 moves in. One piece of feedback I gave Emily after the previous game was to slow down a little bit and use her time. Take care, Yasun. Good to see you. Yeah, Emily makes some great content. Very instructional. She's a bit underrated. She's very new to the chess world at large. So it's very common to start with a lower rating. Will white take next? Okay, so yes, Emily has decided she put her knight on the edge of the board, which is, for the most part, not a common move that you want to make, but it was with a purpose to hunt down the dark square bishop, the London bishop. So now, white has a choice to take with the pawn or to take with the knight. Yes, these are USCF ratings. So I think you could take with both. I wouldn't be surprised if knight takes. Andre, thanks for the follow. Welcome in. Oh, are you an Oilers fan? You have to email the arbiter and ask them and say, "Hey, I'm interested in streaming the tournament. Can I set up a camera? Do you have a DGT board?" Stuff like that. All you need is just the permission from the organizer, and you should be good to go. FIDE sectional. Okay, that's awesome. Good luck. I'm a big hockey fan, so if I find out you're from Canada, I have to ask. No, the knight is on E2. It's true. Your team's not in the playoffs? Then I would guess that you're a Flames fan, maybe, behind enemy lines. Or maybe you're a Canucks fan. Or maybe, I don't know, are you Canadian? Or maybe you're just in Edmonton. Canucks. Ah, okay. Yeah, Canucks and Flames looked like they were trying to make the playoffs, but the Blues came out of nowhere after Four Nations, which is actually my team. So, big Blues fan here. Very happy right now. They just beat Winnipeg very convincingly on Thursday. And I will keep talking hockey unless you guys stop me. You're a Wild fan? You're rooting for the Jets? No worries. I get it. You're from Canada. The Blues took the spot from the Flames and the Canucks, arguably. The McKenna prospect? I actually don't think so. Shout out to the Jets fans. All right. I think I could handle one Jets fan, but 2 Jets fans, it's too much now. I'm outnumbered. Hopefully you guys are at least Bennington fans after Four Nations Cup. Number 1 overall in 2026. Okay. So from the future. Okay, has the opponent made their move yet? The answer is no. Deep in thought here. Yeah, after knight to h5, you'd think that maybe white has a plan. I think, in all honesty, it's fine to take back either way. You just have to take back. So Stick with one. The computer has a very slight edge towards e takes, but not by much. Either way, the computer does like Emily's position, which is nice. The thing with knight takes, there's no real future prospects for the knight other than to go back. And the thing with pawn takes is it feels like you're damaging your structure a little bit. So there's pros and cons to both sides. Yes, big Blues game against the Jets. Hopefully the Blues can build off their big win from Thursday and tie the series 2-2. But we shall see. The Jets very well could answer back and recuperate after their defeat. But I'm hoping the Blues will be back on their game again and that blowout wasn't just a fluke. You get the bind on e5, it's true. But the question is, can White put good use to that? So Emily has just snagged the bishop, securing the bishop pair for herself, which is nice. But White has two knights, one of them currently pinned, and the second one contemplating the recapture. If you take with a pawn, you'd love to put a knight on e5, but this is not an outpost. It's not a hole in the position. Emily still has her f-pawn that could be used to kick out any piece that's on e5, but it's very difficult to put a piece on e5 if you take with the e-pawn. So the opponent decides to maintain the pawn structure and takes with the knight after some contemplation. So now it is Emily's turn. Do you need a friend to make the analysis moves? That is helpful. First, I would start by asking the arbiter or the organizer if they have a DGT board and if they would let you use it. If they would let you use it, that's very nice. If they don't have a board, or if they wouldn't let you use it, then you would have to supply your own board and ask them if you can bring your own. I would assume that you probably don't have your own DGT board. So if neither of you have DGT boards, then you would have to have a friend relay the moves online. It looks like I'm making the moves. It's because I'm using the chess.com classroom. But this tournament in particular is connected to Lichess. And essentially, if you have a DGT board, you get something called a live cloud link, I believe, which shares the PGNs of the boards to the internet. And all you have to do is share that link with either Lichess or chess.com or both, actually. I recommend, if they want to use both, that's perfectly fine. And you just need whoever's in charge of the DGT board, just email events@chess.com and their team will set up a events page where you'll see the boards. All right, so Emily's bishop gets kicked back. I would consider maybe going to a5 and maintain the pen, but White might just lash out and push the bishop back again. But that could be a weakness, so maybe it was worth, but Emily decides to leave the pen and go straight after this knight. Whether or not she would actually take, we'll have to see. But Emily is set up very well to castle kingside here. She has some work to do to get out the rest of her minor pieces. Her light square bishop has no legal moves at the moment, so most likely we will see this knight move, probably to f6. But maybe Emily is actually ready to play e5, which I'm a big fan of. Playing e5 now while the knight's still supporting it. So I'm hoping that that's going to be next after maybe she castles. So right now, it is White's turn, and the computer's calling for e4. a very similar idea, just pushing in the center, trying to contest. So let's see what white does here. 15 plus 10? No, this game is classical time control. So they have like an hour and 40 minutes left. Yes, e5 does look good. I agree, Oscar. It's a good point. e5 is allowed because our opponent didn't take with their e-pawn. Okay, now Emily taking a page, or sorry, not Emily, opponent. His name is D. Joseph Brewer. It's kind of like Joseph. But yeah, I was going to say, taking a page out of Emily's book and has played knight to h5. Going after the g7 square. It's a little tender. But Emily can simply castle. And then probably you'd see e4. What else could be done? You could have... Oh, the computer likes queen h4. That's very interesting. That is very interesting. Basically calling the bluff, saying go ahead, take my pawn with check, by the way. But your knight's not getting out of there. So, very interesting. The computer also likes just playing g6, actually. g6, and again, you can't really give a check because your knight's just going to get trapped. So g6 and castles is fine. Usually you don't like pushing this pawn when you don't have your bishop able to fianchetto. But this move also blocks the diagonal of white's bishop. And this bishop is always able to return at some point still. So easily could win as a 2100. What do you mean? For Joe Brewer. Yeah, that's true. I promise not to have any bias for my fellow Joe. He spelled his name different than I would, so I don't have the same loyalty. No, I'm commentating for Emily, so I'm biased for Emily. Also, I'm just, a big fan of Emily. We're rooting for her. She lost her last game, so it would be nice to balance that out with a win here going into the last day tomorrow. Her online elo? I'm not so sure. Maybe my stats command can help. Okay, it looks like her current blitz is 600 and her best was 1,000. And her current bullet is 370 and her best was 706. But bullet, I don't think she really plays bullet. I can look up her chess.com rapid, which I should probably add to the command. So let's see. Her rapid is currently 1421. So definitely her main time control. So good rapid rating for her. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, so a couple ways to defend g7. We'll see what Emily goes for. Knight on the edge, not typically the best piece, but the knight could come back to g3. Okay, queen to g5 played. Kind of a counterpunch, as well as defending. So very aggressive, very good, solid move here for sure. So we'll see. Probably knight to g3 played. Yeah, that's a good point, Oscar. So had the queen gone to h4, you're also kind of baiting the knight to take on g7 with check, but after king f8, there's no good way to defend the knight. So if the knight goes back to g3 and we capture, because the queen is on the h-file, it pins the h-pawn to the rook. So white would be forced to take away from the center, which weakens the pawn structure in the center. But we do not have queen to h4. We have queen to g5 instead. Emily is defending her g-pawn, attacking white's g-pawn, and attacking the knight on the edge of the board. So the most likely response here would be to bring the knight back to g3, defending both the knight and the g-pawn. And then it'll be up to Emily to decide what she'll do next. One downside of having the queen on g5 is that the queen can get hit by perhaps f4, which is kind of annoying, especially considering if we wanted to play a move like e5. So knight to g3 has been played. This was going to be the most likely response. And now the move that we were looking at before, e5, poses some questions. We would love to play a move like e4, for example. We would also have the potential to trade queens. If we take on d4, they wouldn't be able to castle, but the queens would be off the board. But now that the queen is on g5, if white were to take on e5, we couldn't really take with the bishop or with the knight, because then we'll get pinned or forked on f4 with the pawn. So if white trades, we would have to take with the queen there, which is not the end of the world. But likely best move here isn't to play e5 now, but probably to castle would be very solid. The computer also likes bringing the queen back to h6, actually. And another idea is to play f5 here, getting the f-pawn involved. So Emily is taking her time. It is a lot of time. They both have about an hour and a half left on their clocks. Still very early on in this game. But black is better. Black has a better position. It's a little awkward, I think, to have the knight here. Emily's been able to get her queen out and can castle. The one downside of Emily's position is this bishop. All these pawns taking away all of the squares from the bishop. So that's why e5 is such an important move. This pawn is in the way of the bishop, and so pushing the pawn is what allows for the bishop to breathe. And that's why queen h6 might be a good move. White could just play f4 potentially. All right, here she goes. She's reached out for her knight, and she's put it on f6. So knight on f6 is a very common place for the knight to be. I do kind of wish that maybe we'd played e5. Maybe that wasn't the right time. Maybe she should have castled previously and then went for e5. But this knight, these pieces, they're controlling a lot of dark squares. You could see the knight hopping into g4, for example, and there's potential for sacrifices at some point. For example, if Emily had a couple moves up her sleeves, she could play knight g4, knight takes h2. And if rook takes, then we have bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. That's a fork. So that would be a cool way to win material. So you can see she's kind of maneuvering her pieces, towards the white king. Now, white could castle either way here. They could castle short or they could castle long. The computer doesn't like castling either way, actually. It prefers f4, hitting the queen immediately, taking over control over e5, making life a little bit more difficult to develop the light square bishop. So we'll see how Emily decides to follow up here. She very well could just castle. I think is a very solid idea. But yeah, she has to wait. Her opponent is on the clock. So it is white's turn. And white also might castle, but they might be scared of her queen. And the thing is, because black hasn't castled yet, if white castles, then black can actually just attack with the h-pawn. That is a very annoying idea for sure. What's funny is this knight could do a complete loop. He came here, 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 and now could come back to e2. And then that knight would have made like 5 moves just to be at the same spot. All right, and here we go. Castle's long, so he was a little scared. And so he goes long. Now b5 might be an interesting idea. Just launch that pawn storm at the king. Now that white has declared their king's residency, she does have a good position, gold. She's doing well here. The game is still very early on, though, so we haven't had any crazy tactics. But we do have a knight traded for a bishop. Emily was able to hunt down the London bishop, which is one imbalance of the game. And now she's maybe deciding if she wants to castle or not. I think castling is a very solid move here, but the computer actually doesn't recommend it as a top 3 move. It's hard to imagine that it's not that good. But it does like b5. There's some aggressiveness with that move. It's also liking queen h6, dodging potentially f4. And it also likes the move knight to d7, moving the knight back. That's probably not what we'll see. So yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of knight f6. So not entirely sure what her next move would be. She probably isn't either. She's figuring it out as we speak. b5, a5. Yeah, those are some solid ideas, Gypsy. Yeah, I agree with that, Chris. Nepo and Dubov love their knight moves in the opening. Hello, Nifa. How's it going? Good to see Nifa here. Always good to have moderators from Danya's stream. Always appreciate their support. I don't know many other moderators actually from Danya that would tune into my stream. So good to have Nifa regardless. But he is definitely an expert in Twitch chats. We welcome his expertise. She has to be careful not to get her queen stuck. Yeah, she always has h6. At least. All right, and she's made her move. She didn't play b5. She didn't castle. So what did she do? Did she push a pawn? Did she play c5? It looks like she played c5. Maybe not. Oh, she played e5? She played e5 now. Yeah, this isn't so good because She'd have to take with the queen, right? And it likes e4. Yo, what's up, Houseline? Shout out to Matt. He'll be taking over tomorrow, which is good because I won't be here, and Matt's also just she's saving the best for last, I like to say. Low budget Joe? No. I'm paying Emily. That's how low my budget is. Okay. So let's look at what would have happened had she castled here. No, I guess just no matter what she does, it's just going to be f4. So, okay, knight, yeah, I would have, it likes f5. I would have gone, well, e5 is not so easy to play here because, as we've shown before, she'll get hit with f4, so she'd have to take with the queen there. But okay. Actually, I would have done knight takes, and if we get forked, we have knight takes with check. Would have been an interesting idea. Okay, but e5 in general, I like this move a lot. The computer might not like it so much because white gets f4 with tempo, but it also I think white at some point might play e4 and try to open up the e file while the king hasn't castled yet. So castling on the previous move might have been good or even better. The time, dude, honestly, I don't even know the time control. The players had like an hour 45 to start. So I'm like, I don't know if I've seen that before. Anyways. I don't know if it's like an hour 50 maybe to start with 10-second delay. Is it delay or increment? I don't know. I'm not seeing the information. All right, we have a move. Ooh. E5 and now h4. So she should go to h6. Someone mentioned it's important not to get your queen trapped. And if we look at all the potential moves, there's really not that many. In fact, there's only two. She can go to g4 or she can go to h6. Probably h6 is best. So we'll see. It's not the most flexible of queens. There Emily is. She's returning to c. Let's see if her opponent points out the move. That's something that Kenny was doing. Okay, doesn't seem like it. But she sees the move. She's writing it down as we speak. 10-second increment. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you, Chuckamental. 110/10. Do people actually use that in the US? The answer is unfortunately yes. Yeah, I saw Ben and Dina are playing together, which is very exciting, actually. Why are the boards in front look like DGT and the ones in the back look more like plastic? Probably because that's the case. Not every board in this tournament is on a DGT board, so only the top few players or streamers are on DGT, which makes sense because those are the games that most people want to watch. And it's probably too expensive to put every board as a DGT because each board is a couple $100. So it adds up. Exactly what Chris said. Queen h6, only move. Not true. You could play queen to g4. And your queen has more squares backwards, actually. But the computer likes queen h6 better. Yeah, Dina's gonna give Ben her all. And I think regardless of the outcome, Dina's gonna have some good content. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, Dina's already posted a video with Ben. I think she tried the knight and bishop mate defense, and like I think on move 3 she already made an illegal move. She put her king like where his knight could take it. It was pretty funny. I forgot the time control that she gave him, but I think it was like 30 seconds. And I think he played faster than her. Very impressive. Ben Feingold showing why he's a grandmaster. You don't get queen h6. I think it's staying on the diagonal. So I guess Matt would prefer queen to g4, which is exactly what she's done. I think queen g4 is a more natural move. What is Emily's score so far? She has a draw out of 2 games. So a half point out of 2 possible points. She lost her previous round, but now she's looking to even up her score with a win here, ending today on a good note. And she will have 2 more games tomorrow. It depends house line. Some tournaments, yes, but a lot of tournaments and clubs still do have boards and clocks provided. It just depends on the organizer. Chess on Earth with a rate of 10. Thank you. Hello and welcome. This is Emily Plays Chess round 3 of the Alto tournament in Charlotte. I hope you had a good stream. Welcome in. This game is recently started, so you're not too late. This is move 14. Bishop to e2, kicking the queen. And now she has returned. Queen back to d7. 5 hours of stream and sub battle and a lot of dramas. Who was the sub battle against? 3 a.m. All right, have a good night. Thanks again for the raid. I appreciate it. I hope you sleep well. Sweet dreams. What's up, Pablo Kelly? How's it going? All right, queen d7. She's recovered here. I do like that she played the e-pawn because now the bishop has a future. These squares originally not available to the bishop with the pawn on e6. So she has pushed the pawn. It is defended by the bishop. This could help open up white's pieces in the center. And Emily has yet to castle. But castling should be next, coming up soon. You're good from the raid. Are you also from India? Or are you from somewhere else? Let us know where you're tuning in from. I know Houseline is from Jersey. One of 8 people there, I think. So some people from Europe. Probably most viewers from the US. It's a very classic Indian name for sure. Also, maybe he's just from Earth, just like Chess on Earth. You get the full tournament room experience. Yeah, we rated Dina's stream. I didn't stick around to see the result, but she can't be doing too bad if she's playing against Ben. You're from the UK. Ah, so you're not too far from Houseline. Actually, I forget where Fly is from. Go Ben, exactly. Go Emily too. As you said. Is Magnus here? Magnus's stunt double was watching the second round previously, earlier today. Sunny Southern California, Foot Clan Master Shredder. Welcome. I was just there 6 months ago. I moved from LA. Yeah, there's a lot of Pablos out there. Trying to weaken some dark squares. So capture, capture, pawn push, bishop back somewhere. The computer is saying the best move for white is to play e4. I have a sneaking suspicion that's not going to be played. But I'm open to surprises. So we shall see what our opponent decides to do with the white pieces here against Emily. All support for Emily. Double exclam. It's true. We are here to support our streamers. Yeah, computers love controlling the center, which is why sometimes I think Emily might be a computer. I mean, just look at her. Sitting there. Pretending like she's breathing. She's not fooling us, though. We all know. She's just a bunch of ones and zeros. Or maybe she's just a 10. But that's not binary, so I'm not sure. Yeah, her dog. Shout out to Dale. She needs to castle. Yeah, I agree with that. She castled in the previous game, though, and it didn't work out. So it's confusing sometimes when you're a beginner player and your coach says, hey, you should castle. And then you castle, and then you still lose. It can be confusing. Hey, I castled, and I still lost. And then you blame it on castling. Man, if I didn't castle, maybe I would have won. But the problem with her last game, castling, she allowed the pawns to get doubled and isolated. A deadly combo. And her king had no safety. So, unfortunately for her, her king went down. But her opponent played really well. This is an even game so far. We've got ourselves a game on our hands. And I like that her opponent is taking a lot of time. And I think that helps Emily slow down her pace as well. The previous game definitely was a little too fast. Pablo, take care. Thanks for being here. Appreciate the follow. Definitely follow Emily. She is the better streamer. But thank you to Chess on Earth for the raid. Appreciate the people's support on either channel. Blame it on the coach. I agree with that as well, especially if it's me. Oh, it definitely does fly. I think when people play fast, it could bother you. It could make you nervous. But luckily our opponent is taking some significant time here. And it might be fruitful because the computer says there's only one move that holds the advantage for white. The computer was liking Emily's position for quite some time. And only after e5 did it actually like white. It says that you need to take. Interestingly, the computer wants to take with the bishop because after f4, we have this intermezzo taking with the tempo against the queen. So if the queen takes back, now we can play queen to g4. But probably queen takes, I feel, would have been more likely. I would definitely have considered this move as well. But we didn't see the capture. Instead, we saw h4. Yeah. And after queen d7, white has yet to make a move. So white deep in thought. The computer, like I said, e4, only move that holds initiative. The next best move is to take, but then Emily will recapture. So let's see. White did not play e4. Instead, what did they do? Did they put the bishop back? Did they just play bishop back? Is that really the move? Do my eyes deceive me? That's crazy. Disconnecting the rooks, putting the bishop back on its home square, setting up for the next game this early already. I wasn't entirely sure if I was seeing that right, but it is true. And what does that even mean? Like, maybe if the queen was still on this file, I could see why you might want to defend the pawn because you want the knight to move. But the knight, I guess, what, is the knight going to come back? Is that what's going on? Like, I mean, maybe you could have put the knight back there instead. So I don't know. A confusing move. Now the computer says that black is much better now after e4. I think there's a good chance she captures, which is still a good move. Also, castling is the second best move. But the best is to just play e4. Computer really likes. And then maybe she's threatening the knight. Maybe. And yeah, these squares become weak. Maybe the knight gets into g4. Or the bishop. But probably knight g4 looks really good. Hello, Joel. Good to see you. Why are the DGT boards elevated? I think maybe when they bought the boards, the advertisement was like, elevate your game. And so people bought the boards thinking that it would improve their ability, but really it was just lifting the board off the table. So that way you couldn't say it was false advertising. That's my hypothesis right now. Okay, queen to c7. Emily's got a sneaky little threat here. She's delaying castling. But yeah, moving the e-pawn either by capture or by pushing or castling were better options. Yep, there's Adina. She's got her Magnus hoodie on. Shout out to Magnus. Bishop F1's the last move you would have expected. I wouldn't call it a good move, but I'm curious to see what White has cooked up for us. Perhaps their mastermind is too high. Dina's got some zebra pants. Those are fashionable. Dina's a fashion icon. She's got the Magnus hoodie plus the zebra pants, maximizing comfortability in her OTB tournament. I respect it. Both comfortable and stylish. Did Emily lose round 2? The answer is yes, unfortunately. So they have a fan or vents at the bottom? No. I have not worked with these DGT boards. These look different than anything. The DGT boards I've worked with are all just wooden flat on the bottom. No fancy vents, fans, or elevation. Queen e2, aim to set up a battery. Yeah, so Emily's idea is she wants to take this pawn, and after white recaptures, she wants to win a pawn here. Hey, Dan, the tournament is still very young. This is game 3 out of 5, so I guess just over halfway. At least once she concludes this game. But she has only a half a point out of 2 games, so she's looking for her first dub first here still. So she's working on it. She's got a good position. The opponent has moved their rook, and this is why we need the castle. Because if we take, they will take with a discovery against our uncastled king. So fingers crossed. Emily has 2 great moves. It loves castling. It also loves e4, which opens up her attack yet again. So we shall see what she does. Is Not Joel Matt's coach? Not Joel is the internet's coach. His lessons have been viewed by many far and wide. Yes, fingers crossed. Emily's doing great so far. And she has an opportunity here to maintain an advantage. How exciting. She not only has 1 good move, but 2 good moves. Spoiled for choice, as they say. She could play e4, or she could castle. What she shouldn't do is capture on d4. Probably not a good move. What else could she consider? Oh, computer also likes b5 still. b5 is an aggressive attacking idea against white's king, castled on the queen side. Kostya as a coach. Yeah, they do this thing. It's called the chess dojo. Kostya is your coach? Wow. You should get lessons in person, and then you can meet me. b4 is aggressive. Yeah, b5, a5, b4. It's just strong attacking ideas. What she should do is probably castle. Yeah, JM12 gets it. Also, thanks for the follow. In Italy, very nice. Why go to Kostya when you could wait for him to go to Italy? I like it. I too would rather visit Italy than St. Louis, Missouri. But I've never been to Italy, and I live in St. Louis, Missouri. So I'm biased negatively. the opposite direction. Maybe once I go to Italy, I'll be like, ah, this place stinks. Take me back. St. Louis, I mean, what? Do they have a World Chess Hall of Fame in Italy? I don't think so. All right, castles. Huge move. Round of applause. That we might as well wrap things up here. That's as close as game over as it gets. I'm surprised he hasn't extended his arm for a handshake. Kingside castle. I mean, what a move. Great move. Oh my goodness. Did you guys know you could move both the king and the rook in the same move? Talk about efficiency. That's a 2-for-1 deal. And she's done it. And now she's threatening to win a pawn. I don't know if you guys realize this. Takes and takes and takes again. She's got what we call a battery in the business. Queen and bishop, a powerful duo. So we shall see what the opponent elects to do. It's very likely now white will take, which is kind of funny. If you think about it, bishop takes, she's threatening the same thing. She's attacking the other knight as well. But the humor that I find is that this rook moved from the D file to the E file. And now he's opening up the D file. Okay, maybe that wasn't as funny as I thought. I don't know. Hi, Ollie. Good to see you. But yeah, usually you like your queen and rook lined up together. And your pieces like to go to the open files. Okay. H5. This guy says, I don't fear your threats. Really, he might not see them. Maybe he would fear them if he knew. So maybe it's time for Emily to strike fear into the opponent. H5, it's an aggressive idea. Maybe trying to play H6, most likely the idea to follow. But D4 here on Emily's turn, E takes D4. That's a strong threat. She's hitting two things at the same time. So she has the opportunity here to win some material. The computer does like H6 though. The computer does like to take a moment here, and you just put a stop to any of white's shenanigans along the H file. So the best line, you do take first, queen takes, and then you don't actually take on G3. You take a moment and push H6. So let's look at this a little bit actually. Let's assume she takes on G3. This is still a good move. F takes. If you play H6 right away, we can bring the bishop back to E5. And life is pretty good. So F takes. And now she could take. And this would be fine. She's hitting that rook, by the way. So this bishop's going to have to come back. And now she can play H6. So this would be winning her material. The computer says just play H6 immediately. Ooh, she doesn't take on D4. She simply pushes E4. This is still a good move, but it doesn't take the pawn. So I think she might have been worried not about queen takes, but about D takes, and now the rook is on an open file. But here, actually, we win an exchange. So that was maybe something overlooked. That was definitely something that I wasn't entirely aware of either, is that queen takes was so important here. Because this pawn is actually pinned to this diagonal, protecting the queen and king. That is one of the reasons why castling long is so risky. The king isn't as protected. The king here still has the f-pawn shielding this diagonal. The king here is a little bit more exposed. So the d-pawn has already been pushed, takes, and if the e-pawn now takes, I wasn't considering bishop f4. I was thinking just taking, but this is definitely stronger. This wins us in exchange. Actually, rook to e8. That's a gnarly move as well. We're threatening to take the rook and then take the knight for free. So there were some really strong tactical ideas here had she taken on d4, which is just a little bit more aggressive. It was a little bit more precise. You should be looking at the captures, which are more forceful for moves. Maybe you can take, and maybe she doesn't see the pin right away, but maybe after the pawn takes, maybe then, once you see it on the board, do you start to see the tactics in full. So a little unfortunate she didn't find the best continuation. She played e4, and yet her position is still very good. So e4 has been played, and now the knight has returned back to e2. So this knight went here, 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 and back here. So in 5 moves, it's made 1 move. Talk about efficiency. She played queen c7. Yeah, she was lining up here, but she should have taken on d4. It was more accurate. It was more aggressive. Because here, like, white's able to save their knight, right? This move would not have been possible had she taken on d4. Taking is more forceful because you're first off just grabbing a pawn. So ideally they would take back so they don't go down material. But also it's not so much about the pawn, but it's also about the tempo on the knight as well. Lots of follows from Emily's channel. Thank you and welcome. Hope everyone's doing well. You're about to witness an Emily masterclass here in her 3rd round of this tournament. And she's got 2 more rounds tomorrow, commentated by the one and only Houseline. Welcome in, Alex. Good to see you. You're not late. You arrive precisely when you mean to, as a wizard would. Okay, bishop now coming into g4. Attacking the pawn, but probably encouraging it to move along to h6. Probably we should have played h6 to prevent them from playing h6. But this is still a fine move. We have fully developed our pieces. The rooks are connected. Fly would like to experience some wizardry. So here we are. Welcome in. Yeah, this was a fast move from Emily. And I'm surprised he hasn't just busted out h6. h6, it's pretty important that we play g6. Thank you, Alex. Appreciate it. Yes, Alex, thank you. Thank you for being here and showing it off. I know you're used to being a moderator in other channels. I should probably make you a mod. But I don't know. You made me a VIP. I'm not sure. I think everyone's a VIP, to be honest. I could use some more mods though. Can we trust her as mod? I think she's got a good resume. H6 has been played, as to be expected. Emily should not dare take this pawn. Instead, she should push her own pawn to g6, declining the trade, and making sure that the H file remains closed. Unfortunately, I was going to say maybe f3 could be a move, but that's not supported enough by white. So g6 should be played. And white would not be able to play f3. So she's done it, g6. Yeah, Fly, I tried recruiting him as a mod. Fly seems really scared. Well, I think that'd be good for my channel. That's the kind of energy that I need our moderation team to have. Too excited for tomorrow. What's going on tomorrow? I'm also very excited for tomorrow, but probably for different reasons. Is Alex playing in a tournament? Is Joel coaching Alex? Now I can be double excited. Or maybe it's a secret, which is fine. Emily has 2 drinks, so she's doubled up from this morning. Her opponent this morning had a Monster energy drink, and that could be part of the reason why he beat her. So maybe Emily has learned her lesson and is deciding to add on to her caffeine intake. He will play knight g1. Yeah, that would be funny. So in 6 moves, the knight would have gone 0 squares. Is Fly a mod on any channel? Not that I know of. I don't know why not. I tried. Oh, wow. G3. Talk about a weakness. So you could play bishop f3 immediately and say thank you for that square. Fly said no. I think Fly declined moderating for me just so that they could flex that they said no to me. I wouldn't want a mod for me either, to be fair. So I totally get it. Is that a flex? I mean, people flex a lot of things. I get to flex that I'm a VIP in Alex's channel, as well as Emily's, actually. Arguably my biggest claim to fame. Yeah. There's a lot of good mod candidates for sure. You'll mod for my morning streams? I only stream in the morning if I have to. I don't really stream in the morning because I want to. Although I will say on Saturdays, I am very interested in streaming Bullet Brawl. I'm a big fan of Danya, and I know Danya doesn't like streaming Bullet Brawl. Danya claims that he likes to focus when he plays Bullet Brawl, and therefore he doesn't want to stream. Last week I would have streamed it, but he started an hour late. So, yeah, also Saturday mornings were rough for me because I was working for the Collegiate Chess League tournament, which was held on Saturdays. But the season ended about a month ago. So now I'm free on Saturdays, which means I get to stream more chess. What else would I do in my free time? Thank you, Fly. Joe National Open in June. I've mentally prepared to go. I haven't done any actual work to go, but I did look up. It's like June 4th through 8th. I probably wouldn't go on June 4th. Joe back to OTB. It's true. It's overdue. Okay. A5. Emily has the right spirit. She's got the fighting spirit in her. The aggression is there. B5 was a little better, and I'll tell you why. B5, it's a pawn move going 2 squares, similar to A5. They're both on the queen side, where white has castled. But B5 comes with an extra oomph. It hits a little harder. Because if we look at pushing the A pawn again, notice it's a swing and a miss. There's nothing hitting. But the B pawn, if we push the B pawn again, it hits everything. Now, if we combine the B pawn with the A pawn, that's like the scene in Ratatouille where he takes a bite of both the strawberry and the cheese at the same time. You know, it's everything's just working together. Because ideally, we would take back with the A pawn and we open up the A file. But the B pawn first was maybe a little bit more accurate. Just maybe. Because it's the B pawn push that we really want. Okay, bishop to H3. The opponent says, I don't like your bishop, and I would like to trade it. Now, Emily can decline that trade with a tempo against the rook in the corner. She can also just trade. But trading, it's not as good because we would help them. Emily has the space advantage, as you can see in the center pawn structure. So white is experiencing a lack of space. They're cramped. So they would prefer to trade pieces because their pieces need more space where they can occupy and live, basically. The bishop is on the back rank. Knight's on E2. Bishop here hits the rook. Rook's got to find a new place to go. If we just take this, the rook's going to take back, and maybe they'll double up on the H-file. The H-file doesn't have a chance of getting opened anytime soon, but we don't necessarily want to help our opponent regardless. Don't procrastinate. Register now. Man, I like procrastinating, though. Can I actually solve a Rubik's Cube? No. But I have one. That's why it's so expensive. If I knew how to do it, it'd be a cheaper redeem. This is how much I can solve one face. And I get the middle squares are lined up. But I can't do the second level, and I certainly can't do the third level. So, anyways. I do think Rubik's Cubes are cool, though. And I have one here at my desk. You don't have one? It can't be that expensive. Exactly, Nodule. It's true. Boom. Wow, she's just ignored the threat entirely. It would have been better to take or go to F... Like, probably go to F3, watch the rook move, and then play B5. But she's getting straight to the point here. B5. She's bringing the heat. Can you guys feel it's getting a little hot in here? She's cranking up the temperature. She's preheating the oven because she's about to cook. You guys want to know what she's about to put in the oven? B4. It's lined up. That's next on the agenda. Yes, she is 1047. What you see on the screen is her official USCF rating. Yeah, Emily did get Connect 4. With her last move, she's broken her Connect 4. So that might be why she started with the A pawn instead of the B pawn. What's her chess.com rapid? It's about 1420. Most Americans are underrated. Thanks, Fly. Yes, this is USCF. Her previous opponent was extremely underrated. I don't know if you guys watched that game, but he's 990. She got loads better than she's a strong player. And you have to play your best when you have Ben Feingold in attendance. There he is. Ben was about to go back to his board, but he said, you know what? Let's go take a look. Let's go see what Emily's up to. Yeah, she's doing well. She's cooking. Takes. She takes back with a knight. Thank you, senpai. Yeah, I really was hoping maybe bishop f3 and then b5. I think that would have been nicer because the bishop was not a good piece. There's not many options along this diagonal. And it was kind of in the way of the rook, right? And the bishop here is very annoying to deal with. That bishop would have been a menace. Is Ben Emily's coach? Probably not. Okay, so the capture, and now knight to f4. Interestingly, the computer is not liking b4 so much. But I like b4 a lot. So what does the computer want? This is the question. The computer wants queen d7 or queen e7. I feel like queen e7 is very aggressive. Lining up the queen with the bishop on the other diagonal. Also, rook f to b8. Very, very juicy idea. Putting a lot of firepower on the A and B files. So let's look at what happens if b4 right away. This is the most natural move that comes to my mind. And the computer says just play knight a4 immediately. Trying to keep things closed. And then I would take, and now the computer says play b3. So the computer is trying to create a fortress. But I have a sneaking suspicion this is still very good for us. And I also suspect that after b4, white probably won't play knight a4. I mean, maybe you would play like knight here. But this is not good. What else? Maybe takes. This also isn't very good, is it? So yeah, you can just already dive in with the rook. So knight f4. She might consider taking, but I hope she doesn't. Because our bishop is a very helpful attacker against white's king. Ah, yes, she's played b4. This is a great move. She's all aggressive today. She is an attacking player. She might look nice. She might act nice on stream. But she is out for blood on the chessboard. Yeah, I do approve of b4. The computer might not have said it was the best move, but I'm a fan. And I think our opponent is feeling the pressure. So we'll see how he reacts. You want her to put her pawn back? Her opponent needs to move the pieces with more style. That's your takeaway? I wasn't paying too closely attention. I feel like the quality of the move needs more help than the style in which he moves it. Maybe Joel will give a lesson on how to move the pieces. I've only seen his lessons online, but maybe if I were to get lessons from Joel in person, it would be a better experience. Yeah, Ben is playing against Dina. How is that game going? Maybe Ben was looking at Emily's game to draw inspiration. Ah, that's what you're excited for tomorrow. In person? In person lesson on how to move the pieces with style? 4 a.m. for me? I'll be there. You guys think I'm joking. Okay, maybe not 4 a.m., but maybe like 6 a.m. If it's longer than 2 hours. So hopefully I'll get Alex some extra time for Joel to stick around. VOD. I don't watch Twitch VODs. Maybe post them to YouTube and I'll go watch. His piece moving style. You're hyping it up. I've seen Joel play against Anna Cramling. And Anna noticed right away that he's got it. Whatever it is, he's got it. She could feel the chess prowess from his moves. Really? Wait, have you not seen it, Alex? Yeah, that's Anna Cramling's claim to fame is that she got to play against Joel and he won. I think it was a draw. I don't know. I could be misremembering. They did draw. Yeah, I think it was a little back and forth. I think someone could have won, surely, but it ended peacefully. They were evenly matched. All right, Emily, she's taking a break and she's coming back, hoping for a move, but no. White has not solved the conundrum of the b4 pawn push that Emily's laying down. In command, Emily here is. I don't see a steering wheel, but she's definitely in the driver's seat. And he's in the hot seat. He's feeling pressure because Emily is pushing with authority. And the other rook's going to join in on the B file. If he could swap places with Emily, he would. He'd be like, you can take my pieces. I'll take your pieces. And then Emily would still crush him. That's how in command she is. You should get the Van Foreest family to join. They'd be pretty good. I heard there's a lot of them. They kind of made like a little chess army. Oh, you wanted to win? Okay. Would you invite the Botezes? Oh, Elwood, that's really cool. Yeah, is that like that's like a microbiome transfer, right? I've heard of fecal transplants. People hearing that for the first time might think I'm crazy, but that's a legitimate thing. Your gut health is very important to your health. Elwood saying that your picture is a cow with an opening in it. People have done studies linking your microbiome health to your um, depression or your happiness. And your stomach is actually connected to your brain via the vagus nerve. So there is definitely a gut and mind connection. And the microbiome is a very important, it's a very, very interesting subject. How's my stomach? I'm doing well. I just had lunch before, so I went out after Emily's second round and I came back. So hopefully everyone has been well fed, had a nice little break. We had about 3 hours off between the end of her last round and the start of this one. Queen e2. Wow. Alex is 5'10". So Joel says B takes C3 is just insta dub. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our opponent has blundered significantly. We were looking at this line B4, which somehow the computer didn't even say B4 was a top 3 move. It liked the slow burn, the pain of knowing that B4 is happening no matter what white does. But she goes for it immediately, and it's a great move nonetheless. The top move is knight a4. This is not an easy move to play. To follow or B takes a3 with b3, just giving up the pawn. Just really trying their best to create a blockade. So queen e2 has been played. Emily has saved her knight. She brought the knight back, which I'm sure is okay. But if we look at the most forcing line, we take on c3, and if they take on g4, we're going to take on b2 with check. King takes, and now the rook joins in the party. If the king tries to hold on to the pawn, oh boy. I mean, I feel like we could probably just even take the pawn regardless. The computer likes bishop f8, which is kind of a classy move, if I'm being honest. But what I like about moving, like taking, for example, if they take, it's a clearance tactic, because now the queen enters in on the fun. Queen e7 or queen d6 check are both just dominant. This king is getting mated. So no matter what they do, we're just going to land here. And somehow, okay, I forgot there's queen c8 check. So that's a big problem. That's only mate in 12 for black. Oh, that is the best move. Okay, I thought it was recommending something else, like rook b4, which is kind of a funny looking move. But yeah, queen b4 is the best move. depending on how long you let the computer think. They're both winning. Probably queen b4 is the best, the most natural. But bishop f8, we're getting the queen in, and our bishop is just a helpful defender. But she didn't go for this. She did not take the knight, unfortunately. She simply retreated her knight. And again, her opponent has knight a4 as the best move. But I think it's ideal, or maybe not ideal. It's natural to assume. Yeah, Ben's checking that out. Quick glance, and he sees Emily's crushing. Much better than the previous game, for sure. But yes, it's common to think that if they missed it the first time, most likely they won't find it the second time. That being said, you don't want to give that many opportunities to your opponent to find a defense or to find a tactic. 5.67? Who was saying it was 5.10? Because she's not feeling great. Did she say that? Speaks and Beatles quotes. I haven't heard that Beatles song, but thank you. Alex is taller than 5'7". Have you guys met before? She's shivering. She might be cold. I don't know how cold or warm it is in the playing hall. Looks like a lot of people have jackets on, but she might also be nervous. She also looks like she's drinking some caffeine. How tall are Sam and Joel? You guys took a picture together? I've heard Dutch people are very tall. And I've seen some tall Dutch people. I've met Bach and Bick, and they're both taller than me. You can't wait until Emily becomes WGM? You're going to say Joel is 6 foot? He's 6'4". Like 6'4". Yeah, that's a tall Dutchman. If Joel was a chess piece, he'd be the king. They're the tallest country, which is ironic because they're the Netherlands. That's what I'm saying, Fly. New format for what? I think Joel's watching these DGT boards like, that's pretty nice. I wish my DGT boards were elevated. Saves them all the time reaching down to the table. Okay. So knight a4 was not played. Knight b1 it looks like. And now Emily captures on a3. So that seems like a great move. I have to ask, is Gremlin lurking? I want to say something. I have a joke. It's not really a joke, but it is. I think it's kind of funny. So I'm 6'1". I think Gremlin on her stream said that she's like, I think she said she's like 5'5". So I jokingly told her that I was 5'4". and she didn't know. So I don't know why I think that's funny. But she was like, "Oh yeah, we're like the same height." So no, I don't think Gremlin's here. But yeah, at some point it'd be great to meet Gremlin because I think I've planted the seeds in her mind that I'm a short person. So maybe it'll be a funny surprise. But I just on Wednesday I went to the Washington University Chess Club here in St. Louis, and their club leader, the first thing they said was, "Oh, you're taller than I thought you would be." So a lot of people that just watch the streams don't really think like how tall. Like you couldn't tell if I'm tall or not. I feel like Matt's 6'1". All right, Matt. Moment of truth. How tall are you? All right. So knight b1 was played. She captures. The knight captures, and she captures. Computer doesn't like this so much. So let's see what it preferred. It preferred rook f to b8. Just lining up. And this knight doesn't have anywhere really good to go. But she captures, a takes, and now rook f to b8 is still a very good move. I have to guess how tall Matt is. I'm gonna guess you're like, I don't know, 5'11". Okay, she's just moved her queen up to d6. A very strong and clear threat. They're always 6 foot. Nodule smashed it. You are 6'1". Well done. All right, so the computer likes king b2. And now after rook f b8, the king gets to hide out on a3. And there's some work to be done for Emily yet. So, yeah, probably some chances that she could have optimized here a little bit better. Still a very good position. Still very much better for her. But work to be done nonetheless. And it's not easy when you're under all of this pressure. He has to find kind of a scary move, putting the king down the line, opening himself up. Sometimes you have to put yourself in a scary situation to get through to the other side. This king, he does the exact opposite. He was too scared. He couldn't handle the heat, and so he runs away from his fears. And now Emily can just take on a3 free of charge. To continue her attack, she'll get the outside pass pawn already supported by the rook. And that opens the door for further checks. The king decided to step next to the queen once again. He was too scared on his own. He's running to his queen saying, "Save me." And the queen's like, "What are you doing? You just dropped our a pawn. That was all we had. You could have hit out on a2." So he's in a bit of a panic right now. You know things aren't going well when you castle and then your king's running. And your A and B pawns are missing. The opponent has a outside pass pawn with a queen around the corner in checking distance. So Emily should just grab that pawn. And then, you can figure out the rest later. So this has been a very nice attack that's working out. It's nice when you are the one attacking. Emily got attacked in the previous game. So now she is the one throwing the punches, dictating the pace. All right. So yes. One thing you have to think about when you put the queen behind enemy lines is whether or not you'll get trapped or attacked. And in this case, there's rook a1, but she has queen to b4 check, which is very nice. Now, I was thinking maybe rook b1 made sense because it prevents the check. And it does make some sense. But the computer likes just pushing a4. I mean, I would also consider rook fb8. But maybe it's better to keep the rook behind the pawn because they could trade, but trades are in theory good for black because you're up a pawn now. You're up in material. So really, if you could trade everything, this outside pass pawn should be enough to win. But because the king is so weak, we probably don't want to trade. We want to keep some material on the board. So I was thinking rook f to b8. Computer likes rook f to c8, actually. And I suppose the idea is to follow with c5 and get the queen in this way. The computer's top choice is a4, and I suspect it's because we don't want to allow rook b3. So that is an idea for sure. You're just inching that pawn ever closer to the promised land of the back rank. You like c5 right away. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Maybe you don't want to give up the b5 square. I don't know. But, I mean, this capture looks great as well. Rook to the c file looks great. Emily spoiled for choice. Rook from a to b8. Very interesting. Probably not what I would have done. Okay, and the computer likes queen to a6 now. Yeah, usually like this is what we saw in the previous game as well. Her opponent castled queenside and then moved the rook over to like the e file, but you could have brought the rook from the h file to the e file, right? So it's difficult to know which rook to move. I heard a joke from a grandmaster saying, I put a lot of thought into which rook I want to move when both rooks could go to the same square. And after a long think, weighing pros and cons, I decide which one I think is best, and then I move the opposite rook because that's probably better. So it's not easy. And there's Ben. Ben's just taking a quick glance every now and then. That's got to be pretty cool to have someone like Ben check in on your games. He's not going to everyone's. He's like purposely going just to check in, He's just curious. Wow, Queen A6 played. Top move. Top move here from our antagonist. Just being annoying. Just being a little pesky. Slithering its way in through the nooks and crannies of the position. The rook was on a8. You concede that square. That one opportunity, the queen's decided to take it. So this is still a good position. Now it likes rook b to c8. And now maybe you allow this, but that's a check. But yeah, rook b to c8. Obviously, when you move the rook, you don't want to have to move it again, but this is the reality. What happens when you're just maybe a little inaccurate. Probably was better to bring the other rook. But it liked rook f to c8. So now it doesn't want the pawn to fall. So it's hoping that she'll save it. But again, c5 might be an option, but actually it's not. Our knight on f6 hanging. Did you guys see that? I just noticed it. All right, Emily's leaning forward here. She's dialed in. She's thinking. Maybe she wants to trade. Maybe she'll go here, but takes. Our knight's hanging, the pawn's hanging. This is kind of a valuable pawn. So this is a little bit of a passive move, actually. And we're not even threatening to push, really, because, again, not only would you drop the knight, but you might actually just lose the game. So that would actually be a very terrible way to see this one end. So White has some life. They have some chances now. She's been given an opportunity to blunder, which we don't want to see. You're saying what? Knight g4? Then trade rook, then win the rook. Doesn't seem so simple. Queen a2 first. So queen a2, we're trying to attack the rook twice. The problem is they'll trade. And then they'll take. And they're better here, actually. So I don't even know how we live. How would you save this knight? Okay, so if you trade and then play here, then again they'll take here. Actually, we don't have time to take, so we move the knight, and now they have rook back to h1. Apparently that's good enough. I don't know, but yeah, we don't really want to give it the pawn, so I think we have to abandon the b file ideas. We just have to go to c8. What else is the computer saying? We can bring the queen back to d6, but then we kind of lose our a pawn. So they could trade, then they could take. And yeah, we kind of lose our advantage, actually. I don't know, Pratik. Maybe. Yeah, queen d6 is the second best move. The third best, or next best, is knight to g4. So we have ourselves a bit of a fight here. Emily is allowed queen a6, a great move from the opponent. using their resources given to them. Yeah, this is one of those moves where it hits you and you're like, man, I didn't really consider that. I kind of regret playing so quickly. I don't know if these are Emily's thoughts. I'm not telepathic, but if I had to guess what's going through her mind, that would be one possible scenario. But in chess, you have to live with your moves. You can't take them back, and you have to make the most of what you've got. Luckily, she still has a good position. She is still favored, but there's a fine line that she has to tread now to hold that advantage. It's not nearly as good as what it was. So, ooh, she goes for a curveball. Rook to b2. This does not defend the c-pawn. So usually defending a pawn isn't too high on the priority list, but she's trying to bait it, actually. What she wants to do is play queen to b4. And she's trying to win this rook. But the problem is that this is like so important. Rook takes. If the queen takes, she's losing. She needs to trade queens here. Queen c4 check. The problem is now our pawns are actually pretty weak. So, yeah, and she's also not up material anymore. And I don't know, I mean, it depends on what white finds and plays here. White might be scared of queen b4 check. So this is a creative attempt by Emily. Also, you could just trade rooks and then take. Okay, we see an alternative here. Knight to e2. This guy barely spent any time at all on this move. And I guess they want to block the check with a knight. Oh my god, she has queen d3 check. Wait. Now, because the knight's not here anymore. That was a sneaky move that I wasn't considering either. That might be really good for her if okay, what did she just doubled her rooks. Okay, I really want to see queen c6 now. I would love to see queen d3. I mean, what a baller way to checkmate. But okay, white didn't take they didn't take the c-pawn. They're playing fast, by the way. They're playing very fast. There's a lot going on right now. And I don't suspect that they're getting all of the information. I mean, these are things that I wasn't looking at either right off the bat. I have the luxury of having the eval bar right in front of me. Thank you, Ridors. You think she missed queen takes f6? After takes on c6, it's possible. So yes, white needs to take on b2. Also, if we take back with the rook, we have back rank issues. We'd have to block like this. And they'd still... Oh. Didn't mean to do that. Where are we? Here we go. All right. Yeah, rook takes. She should take with the queen. Yeah, interestingly, white didn't. I don't know if white considered taking on b2 immediately, but taking on b2 would have been good here too, actually. So knight to e2. Let's see. I have to promote some of these lines. Not these lines. Where were we? Oh, was this not on the board? Ah, hold on. It was queen here first. And then knight back to f6. Yes. So here she played rook b2. That wasn't what happened. It was knight back. And yeah, now we await what white does here. Joe's legit. No. Did someone say I'm an IM? Absolutely not. Gold buckle rodeo. Don't lie for me. You'll make me look worse. I've never claimed to be titled. I also never claimed to be good. So I apologize if my analysis is not up to par. It's fine. Okay, good. I was worried. Whew. All right. One more viewer that we haven't lost yet. It's not a lot, but I have to keep track. Thank you for the sub, Chess Kibitzer. 6 months, half a year. Appreciate that. Welcome in. All right. You guys want to see the game in its entirety up to this point? For anyone that maybe missed or tuned in a little late, we'll start from the beginning here. We've got the infamous London system. And Emily plays the nice pawn pyramid here. Solid structure. Gets out her bishop. She chases down the dark square bishop, the London bishop. She saves her bishop, brings the queen out with a tempo. Brings out her knight, and now she plays for e5, opening up for the light square bishop. Her queen gets chased back. And yeah, here we have some questionable decisions from white. Castles now. e4, this was an opportunity perhaps to trade. She allows the knight to come back. She brings out her bishop. She closes down the h-file. Now she launches her attack on the queen side. I would have loved to have seen bishop to f3, but she allows for the bishop trade. She gets in b4, and this is where she really should have considered taking on c3. This would have been a very devastating attack. She saves her knight, and now she takes on a3, and here she probably could have done a better job. She takes right away. She still plays rook fb8. Actually, she didn't do that. She plays queen here. The king should have come here to defend, but the king runs away this way. We have this trade, and now here's where she slips up a little bit. She plays the wrong rook to b8. Not easy to find. That allows the queen in for a lot of counterplay. So the best is to defend the pawn. She instead has this really creative idea, rook to b2. So queen takes c6 is best, and white's better at this point with some crazy threats. But white brings the knight back. She doubles, and now white should have taken, but they didn't. They go knight to c3. This is the second best move, but the computer is saying it's even. And there's a couple moves. You can take on b1, or you can play rook 8 to b6. And apparently that's okay somehow. Okay. What will Emily do? That is the question. And she's standing here. She's not at the chair. She's getting an aerial view from overhead the board. It's a common strategy these days when players are used to playing online. Sometimes when you're sitting at the board, it doesn't look right. So you got to stand up to look at the board from overhead. And that way, it really brings you back to your roots. What's the accuracy so far? I don't know. I don't know if I can do the game review when the game's still going. Actually, I think that's a thing. That's a thing when you're spectating games, I believe. I don't know if I can do that in classroom. It's a good question. You played tourneys back in the 90s? Oh, if you have it on event page, yeah. True. I'll have to figure out why they're not using chess.com event page. I'll have to chase them down, get to the bottom of this. Now, here's an idea that I had. Queen to b4. Not a good move. Rook takes, queen takes. And now, again, there's queen takes c6. The computer actually likes rook to b1. That's called a skewer. It's pretty devastating. Defended by this knight here. So she can't try to pin the knight. There's no time. You can take. This is the best continuation. You trade all of the rooks. Now this isn't with a check. So I was wondering, there's this check, but obviously there's queen back, so there's no back rank here. And the computer says take on c6. And we're threatening the knight, I guess, but that's an opportunity to save our rook. So computer actually likes queen takes h6. But let's say rook b8 takes, and it doesn't hate this move. Maybe knight takes. But yeah, very, very interesting way. Yeah, I'm curious why not take knight g4, and black is crushing again. So it's very important that white does not deliver a check. It's very important that they take. And now I thought check, knight c3, and white's better here. But apparently we just go back to d6. Or what else? Why not go here? Oh, I guess the knight hits. It also likes queen f8. So, yeah, here takes knight g4. It says it's just a draw. I don't know. Queen takes. Queen takes. The computer seems to always find a draw, but yeah, neither side playing with perfect accuracy, as to be expected. Some things are being missed for sure, but Emily certainly had a stronger attack. and she slipped up with just rook a to b8. That was the key moment. There were some chances earlier than that, but this was the most that she conceded, I would say. Queen a6, great resource defensively that White was able to find in that opportunity. Thank you, Pizza. You think Emily will win? She's gotta trade rooks apparently, and it's just a very sort of unclear endgame. It's a lot of pawns, a knight and a queen. Her king is not very safe because of the back rank issues. She has queen f8 and a lot of lines, and she can pick up the h pawn for sure. There's just a lot of little details just throughout the game that adds up. It makes or breaks the position. Allowing h6 was unnecessary. She could have played h6 herself at some point. I think trading bishops, having the knight on g4 was also unnecessary. She could have played bishop f3. And allowing the queen to attack her knight wasn't really the issue. She should have taken this knight and said, so what? Go ahead, take my knight on g4. I'm going to checkmate you. Right? So she had a lot of opportunities to really deliver an attack, and she really set forth on the aggressive side. She played a really good attack to get to this position, but the problem is she didn't capitalize on key opportunities, and then she let the queen into a6. And I think she overestimated or underestimated. She didn't even necessarily anticipate that this was going to be such a big problem for her. It looked like she was just going to steamroll him. I was very confident that she was just going to crush this guy. I thought she was just going to checkmate him. And it was looking very good. But sometimes you just miss a couple moves and it adds up. And, now there's a pawn on h6. And now there's a queen on a6. Right? We let a couple of these pieces sneak their way in. And it's crazy to think all you need to checkmate is a pawn and a queen. And that's exactly what he has. So there's a moment after rook to b8. She could have played rook to c8. It's not a fun move. It's very passive. And it's also annoying to play a rook move and then immediately have to play that same rook somewhere more passive. From a completely open file to babysit a pawn, it's just something that is very hard to do, to come back from. So it's very logical that she would go in on the b file. And now she's made her move. Wow. Rook from 8 to b3. It's a bit much. So, yeah, computer loves queen takes c6. That makes a lot of sense because it defends the knight. She's taking advantage of the pin, but the problem is she kind of just gives away the a tempo, because again, white could just take on b2, which is the best move. It's been the best move for a while, and he's not been playing it. But again, you don't want to give your opponent multiple opportunities to find a good move. So it's also hard to trade all of the rooks and then just go into an endgame where it looks very scary, like you're going to get mated. But that was her best chance of holding a draw. And she didn't realize that, I'm assuming, because she's been on the attack the whole time. And also, psychologically, white has been on the defense the whole time, which makes sense why maybe white hasn't been going for more aggressive moves. They've been defending a lot because they feel that they have to. And so it's hard to have to make that mental switch in the middle of a game from, okay, I'm defending. Now I have to attack. So, yeah, queen takes c6 has been played. So that is not the best news for Emily here. Her best move now is probably queen to e7, trying to hold on. Houseline is asking for the motivational speech here. Yeah, he still hasn't taken the pawn, or the rook, but he has taken the pawn now. Queen b4 also didn't work because rook takes b2 still. Yeah, she was winning. She was winning. Now she's losing. But whether or not you're winning or losing, it doesn't matter. What matters is the end, the result. Emily, it's not over yet. It's not over until it's over. Some would say it's not Jover until I say it's Jover, because I still believe. Because you still have opportunity to win, to fight. The clock is still ticking. The king is still on the board. And it's your move. It's your opportunity. It's still a game. It's not over. Sure, she had chances before. Sure, she could have taken advantage of them. She could have maybe won the game, lights out. But you know what? Chess isn't easy. You're not going to go from point A to point B. It's not always going to be smooth sailing, sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes you got to fight tooth and nail. You have to claw your way back. And that's what it's going to take to win this game. And she can do it. I've seen it before. She has it in her. She has the ability. And you know what? We can't win them all. Sometimes we lose them all. And that's okay. Because that's part of the process. You have to embrace failure. The risk is losing, but that's what it takes to win, to learn, to improve. Sometimes you have to go out and lose, and it's embarrassing, and it feels like you don't know how to play chess or that you're the worst player ever because you missed something that's, oh, it's so obvious. But you know what? You have to go out there and live that experience to know not to do it again, to learn, to improve. She's out here playing in these tournaments on her own. She's doing this. She's signed up. She's dedicating her whole Saturday to compete. And you know what? She might lose both these games today. But at least she was there. And she learned. She competed. Who else is playing in a tournament today? I'm not. I'm just here talking about someone else's game. I'm not out there competing when I could be. I'm a spectator. I'm on the sideline watching Emily fight her own battles. She's a warrior. And so what if she doesn't play the best moves every single time? Because who does? Not me, certainly. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. What matters is she's trying. There were many times she could have played a more passive move that maybe the engine liked better. Or maybe she could have traded rooks down right, to defend better. But no, she's a fighter. She's not quitting. She's throwing everything in the kitchen sink. Look at these rooks and her queen. Who cares if pieces are hanging? She's giving this everything she's got. Because there's nothing less than that to give. She's giving it her all. Because that's what it deserves. This is maximum effort. And we're all blessed to have witnessed this. This is far from over. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. It's still even material. They could trade down and they could fight it out in the end game. So, and also white could still throw. There's always the throw possibility, so you never know. All right. Instead of queen takes c4, you mean c6? Wait. I don't know. You want it now? She's gonna have to if queen a8's kind of a weird. Okay, so queen c8 now. So queen f8's the only legal move here. She's got a block. She's reaching for it. She knows. She saw it. And now I guess the knight's hanging, huh? I guess that's a fork. So, she still has the a pawn. Yeah, I'm still optimistic she can pull off like a queen d3 maneuver. Yeah, there goes the knight. F5 could be a move. And she could bring her queen back over. It's still not over. Well, if she pins the knight, then she's gonna get checked again, is the problem. She'd have to bring the queen back. It's not over. It's not over. It's not looking good, but it's not over until it's over. Yeah. This would be very nice to have. However, this. So, yeah. The best, it's saying it wants to trade rooks, but I would consider f5. I think there's a world where oh my god, you guys aren't gonna believe it. I was thinking just like queen f4, but now queen c8. Queen c8's a draw. You guys, after f5, there's only one good move. There's one move that holds the initiative, actually. Emily could have masterminded this whole thing. Anyone that said it was over, ye of little faith, tell me what the best move is here. How is it so? If white plays the one winning move, it's +6. If they do anything else, it's zeros across the board. Queen takes g6? No. I'm pretty sure that loses. But Queen e2, you're saying? No. Is it rook takes b2? Question. Yes. Exclaim. Rook takes b2 is the only good move. You think white would play that? You know how many times white could have played rook takes b2? You know how many? You think they would do it after f5? No shot. It's not happening. Come on, Emily. F5. I'm telling you guys, she sacked the knight for the greater purpose of sidelining the queen from the king's defense. Remember, the king had an opportunity to go defend that a pawn. He cowarded out. He hid by the queen. Now he's been separated from the queen. This is Emily's chance to strike back. F5, Emily, come on. F5, and you're back in it. Unless he somehow plays rook takes b2, I swear to God, if he plays rook takes b2 after f5, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to be like, okay, this guy's playing a cruel joke. Gosh. If you think that you're losing, you think you're going to try to play f5 or just, you know, how many of you would say, it's over, just tap out, resign. Your attack didn't work out. You lost a piece. You're getting back ranked left and right. Absolutely not. It's not over. f5. Come on, Emily. Don't give up on me now. This is resignable, brother. Did you not see what I just said? f5, and the only move is rook takes b2 to hold an initiative. This is still winnable. What's up, Joshua? f5, it's a very natural move. Connect 4. Think about it. Because what we want to do, we want to play like here, right? But we're going to get checked. So guess what? f5. With a tempo. You're boxing the queen out from access to the back rank. f5, let's just say, I would imagine like queen here or queen here. Queen here is losing. Queen b4 or queen c8 are winning. Queen here, and it's a draw apparently by queen c8 as an only move for Emily. If she plays here, then the only winning move now is queen to c7. So there's this c-file defense. That's if they go here. If we go here, queen c8 is still good, right? Keeping an eye on the back rank. So, dude, I've never wanted to move so bad as I want f5 right now. I'm just going to stare at her until she plays it. I'm sending my brainwaves. f5. Come on. Come on. Just do it. I swear, dude. This guy thought he could just take a knight. Technically, he could. But he needs to find rook b2, which there's just it's not happening. As much as I manifest f5. Oh, she's done it! f5 on the board! Let's go! Oh my goodness gracious. Ladies and gentlemen. She's fighting tooth and nail. Come on. Okay, now it's big moment here for white. There's a lot of ways to go wrong. There's only one way to go right. And I don't think there's just look at he's not even looking at his rooks. He's looking at that queen. He has no idea where to put it. And I know he's going to move his queen somewhere. There's no world he's taking on b2. He's not even looking. He doesn't even see the rooks. That's his blind spot right there. Oh my goodness, you guys. Down a knight. And she's still throwing haymakers. F5 on the board. Okay. Okay. Queen. Okay, queen f4. It's not as good as we had hoped, but it's still better. She's brought it back. She's got to find queen to c8. Only move. F5, that's a walk in the park. Easy peasy. Can she find queen? Oh, she's got the hand. Oh my god, she found it instantly. Oh my goodness. Now they're now is the last opportunity for white to take on b2. This is their last chance. Anything else loses. Insta loses. They have to take on b2. Last chance. Emily's dialing in here. She had you all fooled, but not me. I knew from the get-go. All right, we're going for perpetuals. Okay, so clearly we've got an issue here. This knight. Okay, let me calm down a little bit. Rook takes, queen takes, fork. King has to go to e2. King has to go to e2. Anything else loses. So let's look at the best line. Now we can take with the rook, or we can give a check. But we cannot take with the queen, because now we've allowed the queen into c7, and we know this guy can be sneaky with his queen. We've seen it. This is now winning for white. So what she needs to do here is rook takes b2. And it's not even close to over yet. This king is going to have to run. And yeah, I mean, this pawn, like, there's chance she's got the annoying pawn to deal with for sure. Now I'm the one that's shaking. I'm nervous for her. This is such a game. Man, what a game. This is just incredible. What else could they do? I don't know. This guy's, he's been sleeping on b2 the whole game. She's getting her knight back with the attack. First she sack. No, first she attack, then she sack. Then she get the knight back. And she's back on the attack. Oh my goodness. What's up, Megan? Megan, have you been witnessing this? This has been a roller coaster. What'd you miss? You missed everything. Oh my goodness. I can barely sit in my seat right now. This game. You guys want to see? Should I go back and review? Where was I last? Why queen b4? What did she do here? Knight g4, right? No, she played here. No. What'd she do? I missed it. I lost it. I'm pretty sure she did this. This, right? Yeah. Let's promote this line. Queen f4, queen c8. Rook takes b2 has not been played yet, but that is the only move that holds a draw. Otherwise, Emily's crushing. So this is the up-to-date live position. But let me take you back. Let's just start from the opening here. From the gate. We've got a London system. Emily hunts down the London bishop. She brings out her queen, her knight. She pushes in the center. She gets her queen back. She loads up the queen and bishop. She pushes. She gets a pawn to h6, unfortunately. But now she launches her attack. The game has revolved around this queenside attack and whether or not white was able to defend. So this was an opportunity she could have taken. She saves her knight. She trades. She gets the queen in. And now here's where she slips up a little bit. Rook to b8, allowing the queen in. And here's where she doesn't let up, right? She goes all in, doubles the rooks. She brings the rook to b3, as wild as that seems. Now white is throwing some punches. They get the check, they get the fork, they get the knight. But guess what? It was bait. f5 locks the queen out of the defense. And here, the only move that wins, you actually take both rooks for the queen. But of course, they save the queen, and now queen c8, the only chance here. And again, putting white in the hot seat, only opportunity to even just hold the position is to take on b2. Anything else, and Emily's just lights out crushing. She's back in the driver's seat. This knight, you can't save it. If the knight moves, we're crashing through and checkmating. You're calling Emily's win now. Yeah, because she's throwing the punch. The only downside is she's mateable with the pawn and the queen. She's weak. Her king is a little weak. But this king is very weak as well. But there's some defenses here. So the first move has to be played. Rook takes b2, and he's done it. Rook takes b2, and now it's time for Emily to get going here. She can take the knight for free with check. With the fork, she's going to get the rook back as well. And there's some technique to be had here. She has to be a little accurate. Because after queen takes c3, well, he's the one that has to be accurate first, too. He has to play the e2. Anything else, like king here, this is a very natural move. But rook takes is winning on the spot. Queen takes c3 played with check. This is a big make or break moment. And we see the opponents next to them on their board. This guy's staring at their position like, what the heck is going on in that game? He can't even focus on his own board. It's so boring compared to this one. He's going to have to go back and watch the VOD. And I don't blame him. This is action that has been nonstop from start to finish that you will not want to miss how this game concludes. There's one move that's drawing. And I'm sure that's not going to be the only time. Because this guy is walking a tightrope right now with his king's life on the line. King e2. And guess what? There's like 4 options. Obviously, we can rule out king to c1 because she's taking with check. King to d1, I think, is a natural idea. Right? But it's failing. Rook takes b2 next on the line. Oh, I guess I shouldn't have counted f1. That's not a legal move. Okay. So there's 3 options, 3 legal moves. You can dismiss this one. So she's got a 50-50 chance right now of him just collapsing. If he goes to d1, she's taking with authority. king to e2, it's not that natural because rook takes, and I mean you're getting attacked. So I mean, I guess you're getting attacked either way. He needs to come here, I think, to run away like that, but oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. He's got to think this over because his king's life depends on it. Emily has evened out the pieces. She lost her knight, but she had this f5 maneuver to get it back. Let's see. Let's see what white does. We're hoping for d1. Now, if e2, she can take. It's important that she takes. Maybe they're scared of queen c4 as well. That's another reason why you would go to d1, so that you don't get checked on c4. But king e2, you can allow this check because the king comes back to d2. And this is the perpetual that we can find. But the odds of that happening are pretty slim, I would say. Probably it makes sense that she would take on b2 and continue her attack. Here, there's only two moves that work. Rook c1 or king f1. If king f1, I mean, I would consider taking here. Computer doesn't like that so much. King g2. So, I don't know. I mean, this pawn is pretty deadly too, right? So that's the thing. The computer likes this for white. But it's like, it's really not obvious. I guess the queen can come in, right? Okay. Yeah, this is as sharp as a knife, this position. They're walking on eggshells. He's reaching for the king, as he has to. He's found king e2. Now, Emily can check. And check, the king has to find its way back to d2. So you might want to throw the check in. Because why not? Just see if he'll mess up, right? No, she just takes right away. That's also fine. I would have considered, I would have done a little game of tickle. A little repeat. Check. And now, here's the moment. Again, every move is going to be the moment. Because that's just how dire the position is. They have to play king f1, which is fairly natural, or rook to c1. Which I think is a little less natural because you take with check. And she still has the passed pawn. But she still has the weak king as well. So she's not through it just yet. But these are the only two moves, rook c1 or king f1, that are holding for white. Anything else they do, and Emily's on the mating attack. King f1, you think never? Because of what? The check? I don't know. King f1, I mean, he kind of like gets out of it, right? I don't know. This is really annoying though, for sure, how weak the king is. I mean, both kings are very weak. Okay, yeah, he's played king f1 pretty quickly. So yeah, he's putting on his running shoes. That's why I liked the queen c4 check a little bit. Like, give him more chances to mess up. Why not? It's a free check. I mean, it's not obvious to know that. Like, if we give queen c4 check, the king could go. Yeah, like this loses. You just take. This also loses to take. So you give him another chance to mess up, really. He'd have to go back to d2. And interestingly, this doesn't work. Well, it's still a draw, but they can go here now. So it's important that we push the king away, then take. Also, I've been analyzing this like crazy. No, so not queen takes, but rook takes. Yeah. And he's played king f1, one of the two best moves. And now she can check. She can take on c2 with the rook. Queen takes, it doesn't like, for whatever reason. And I feel like that's a natural way to play. But just king g2 here, and it likes white. But it's not, I mean, both sides have had such tremendous advantages. We might as well throw the eval bar out the window, because I don't think anyone's been able to predict what these players could do. Part of the beauty of chess, really. It's always exciting. I like queen takes because we're just putting maximum pressure on f2, which I think is important to keep this queen at bay. Queen e5 is really annoying, but we don't have to worry about queen e5 if we're threatening mate. So that's why I would take with the queen, but the computer doesn't like this. Why? Because, like, let's say we push this pawn. Now it likes rook f1, and that frees the queen up. So the queen has been freed. Yeah, we are threatening mate if the queen leaves, is my point. So we're tying the queen down to the defense of the f-pawn. But the thing is, white can switch guards, as they say. They can load up rook f1, and that alleviates the queen of her duties. And now she can go attack on her own. So, yeah. The computer likes to check. And it also says we can take with a rook. And somehow this is still a draw because... Okay, queen c7 is a move. Wow, she's taken with a rook. Honestly, I don't know if I would have done that. I think Emily's better than me. But the rook takes helps us defensively, actually, because now the queen can contest their queen on this diagonal. And we could trade queens and get a rook behind this pawn. Who says no? Interestingly, though, she goes here, she loses. So they haven't played king g2 yet. But that is one of the best moves. Also, now queen b8's a threat, now that the rook is no longer there. But the queen and rook are able to defend here. So, oh man. Okay, let's say queen b8, block, and queen here. Oh my god. Rook takes f2. You're saying there's a perpetual? This isn't so good. Rook c7 takes. Oh man, dude, this is a fight. This is a battle. Rook takes c2 is the last move on the board. Alex won your match. Nice. Okay, queen e5 now. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is impossible. Queen e5 now, there's only two ways to hold a draw, and you're not going to like them. I don't like them. You're free to think whatever you think, but I don't like this at all. The first option, rook sack, that's option 1. The second option, which is like my least favorite, king f7, is somehow holds a draw. You're allowing both queen g7 and queen takes d5, both with check. An absolute ludicrous move. Queen e5 is brutal. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Guys, Stockfish thinks this is okay. Stockfish is like, nah, you're fine. You're fine. Just king f7. Brother. Queen e5, dude. I don't know how we deal with that. He has queen. No, he didn't. Oh, Fly's messing with the ads. What is option 2? Okay. Are we out of the ads? Are you guys with me again? You guys want to see what the options are after queen e5? If white were to play queen e5 right now, in this precise moment in time, there are 2 ways for Emily to hold a draw, starting with the rook sack. That's one way, which I'm not, oh my god, he's just played queen e5. King f1. Okay. The rook sack is findable. Right? It's maybe needs to spirit some Gotham chess level thinking, but I wouldn't put it past Emily. The other way, after queen e5, the only other way to hold a draw, king f7. I mean, like, come on. What's up, Luke? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Welcome, man. This is an absolute roller coaster of a game. Something I've never quite witnessed before. Emily going absolutely all out, full send on a king hunt that's been very double-edged. Both kings on the verge of death. And in this precise moment, queen e5 has been played. A game ender level move. Of course, Emily could try to find some defense. Maybe queen c7. Oh, queen e8's mate in 1, 2. We can't defend, but this threatens mate 2 different ways, man. So maybe out of desperation, she'll find the rook sack. There's a check here. I mean, this is just a brutal game. There's this check, but that runs out very quickly. There's this check. This also doesn't work. What's crazy is this check doesn't work anymore after this because king h3. Oh, guys. How is this? Okay, because there's no king h3 in one move. You hope she sees queen e8. I didn't see queen e8 at first either, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, maybe king f7's not that difficult to find because there's like not anything else really besides. I mean, yeah, you've got queen c4 check, king here, and now you play king f7. It's lost, which is just so brutal. Queen takes h7 now. So let's look at if she doesn't give the check, and we play king f7 away. Like, I don't understand how this is a draw, dude. How is this a draw? Takes. Oh, you will always have the rook takes f2 draw. What's up, Waxy Caps? Good to see you. I'm absolutely stressing out right now for the sake of Emily's king. What's up, PKR? You expect queen c7 losing. You expect her to blunder mate in 1? I mean, I might have made that blunder. and I guess so will she. Ugh, that's the way it ends. No, okay, it's not over yet. He might take the pawn. Oh no. Take the pawn with check. You know you want to. He hasn't played it yet. If he doesn't play it like right now, he doesn't see it. It's a move that you play when you see, and he hasn't played it, so he doesn't see it. You can't fight that logic. That is impeccable. It's foolproof. He's taking that pawn. Did she actually look at the board? It's right there. I can't make this up. Queen e8's mate. Yeah, I know it. You know it. Your mother probably knows it, but this guy doesn't. No! No! He took his sweet time on that. Ah, it's brutal. Oh, it's just brutal. Oh, it's heart-wrenching. My heart broke. He's talking about the difference there. It's like it was so close. He played a really good defense at the end. He found the important moves when he needed to, and when it came down to it, Emily missed her last chance at a perpetual. The rook takes f7. She missed queen e8 mate, and I'll be honest, I missed it at first too. So I don't blame her on that. Man, what a game. That was so close. And she had some really fun attacking ideas. It just didn't pan out in the end. So, man. Seriously, what a game. Both sides had so many chances. All right, I don't know if we'll do an interview, so that might be the end of it. But in the meantime, I thank you all and appreciate you all. You're all amazing. Emily is also amazing, and I hope she knows it. I certainly know it. I know you guys know it. So be sure to tune in tomorrow. She's got 2 more games with Houseline, and she's going to get some dubs. So, God, what a game. Please show us the opening. Okay. One more run through it. Let's promote this line really quick. Yeah. Okay. From the gate, we've got a London system. Emily hunts down the London bishop, brings back her dark square bishop, kicks the knight back, and now she goes for e5, opening the center. She brings her queen back. She lines up here. She castles, a lovely move. And here I would have liked to have seen e takes. It's a bit more forceful. She pushes, a little more passive, and now allowing the knight to come back. Here I would have liked to see h6. I think h6 saves her a lot of trouble. This would have been very helpful in the long run. So she allows h6. She plays g6. She's still very much in the driver's seat here. Now she launches her attack. Here I would have liked to see bishop f3. She trades. And now b4, a lovely move. This is a great moment for her attack. And she flinches. She needs to continue driving her attack. She needs to capture because, again, this is just the most forcing move. White's queen is going to be distracted, and this is not the last time we'll see the queen distracted by a knight on g4, mind you. So she saves the knight. She then captures. She trades. She attacks. And here White could defend with the king, but was too scared. Instead goes the other way, and this is where she takes, and now again she's in the driver's seat. Here, she plays rook to b8. I would have done something like this, and okay, funny enough, it likes queen a6 nonetheless. Probably they trade, and I wonder if queen a6 is any good here. It's not. So the problem is she went with the other rook. She went rook a to b8, and this allows queen a6. This is a ton of counterplay, and it's because of this pawn on h6, right? The knight's also hanging. So if you imagine this pawn is stuck on h5 and we have a pawn still on g7 and a pawn on h6, we still are very much attacking. But instead now she has to defend, and she doesn't. So here white should just take. You could also take on b2. So white didn't play this the most accurately. Here Emily gets very creative. And again, white's just failing to take on b2. Here she sets up some bait, a trap. This is a very amazing moment of the game. A lot of you might see this as a blunder, and it's definitely winning for white, but they didn't play the most accurate response. They need to take, well, they should trade here. Okay, actually taking on g4 is the best, but it's only because after f5, white can take both rooks for the queen. But they didn't do that. They blundered, and now Emily is back in the driver's seat, queen to c8, and there's no way to save the knight or the king besides taking on b2, which they do, takes, and now here's where both sides have to be extremely precise, tiptoeing the edge between mating or getting mated. And white played accurately when they needed to in this moment. There's only one drawing move, which they found. Here's a great chance where I think Emily should try queen c4 check, and it forces the king back, and she can continue checking like this, and only after white has proven that they can defend would you then try to push further by taking on b2, which she does right away. And again, only move, there's two moves here actually that hold. White was able to find one of them. And here, this is still fine, but it's because she keeps the queen at bay with a perpetual threat. I was thinking take with the queen, but this also is fine for white because they can bring the rook around. Taking with the rook here allows her to bring the queen back in defense. However, after queen e5, there is no queen defense backwards because there are two mates threatened. So she has to find either the rook sacrifice for perpetual, or the king has to put on a pair of shoes and try to fare his weather out in the open seas, which is not easy to do because you're dropping a pawn with check at least. And ultimately, if you avoid one check, then you go for the perpetual again with the rook sacrifice. So not easy to find in the end here. Instead, we have queen to c7, offering a queen trade and guarding the g7 mate, but forgetting about queen e8 mate. So that was the unfortunate dramatic finish to this absolute roller coaster of a game. Emily, this was extremely exciting to watch, and I hope that your games tomorrow will be even just a fraction as exciting, because that would still be an incredible watch. And I know a lot of us will still be there tomorrow tuning in and supporting her, as well as Houseline, who's going to be commentating. So very much looking forward to that. Wishing him good luck. Wishing Emily, of course, good luck to try to get some dubs on the board in her last day of the tournament. And with that, I thank you all. This was exciting and fun to watch, regardless of the result. Always an honor to watch some entertaining chess. And stick around for the raid. We're going to find somebody here. So thanks, everyone. Let's see who's on. Who shall we raid? Okay. Looks like we're sending it back to Dina. I'm probably gonna raid someone else. Um, but yeah, thank you to Emily's chat. I'm gonna raid Robbie. Just cause. Thanks, Zoomja. And thank you to the mods for helping with the raid. And yeah, I'll see y'all later. Bye, Physic. Bye, Zoomja. Bye, Notchwell. Bye, Alex. Good luck tomorrow, Matt. And yeah, take care, everyone. Thanks.